We weren't meant to just keep up in this world. We were meant to come alive. But somewhere along the way, we traded that aliveness for approval. We've built a life that makes sense to everyone else, but it no longer feels like what we authentically want to live. And now there is a quiet ache, just deep enough to make us ask, is this what I want my life to be about? That question is your turning point. And this video is your mirror. You're out of sync with who you've become, and your soul knows it. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, when the life that you're living no longer matches who you truly are. I've had two major careers in my life. My first was a sergeant, a staff sergeant in the Army. In 6 years, I made it faster than most in that position. I had status, authority, and respect. People listened when I spoke. My second career was a health physicist. It gave me more money and more prestige. It also gave me admiration from the people I looked up to. But here's the truth. That sense of accomplishment was short-lived because neither one of those careers felt right anymore. All I really wanted, as simple as this may sound, was to be there for my sons, not ship them to the next babysitter or the next after-school program. I no longer wanted to see their lives through updates and quick check-ins. I wanted to be there, and I wanted to be the one they leaned on. But that was pretty much impossible because I was never there when they needed me. I really had nothing left to give. I was exhausted, drained, and burned out. Giving all of my energy, my love, my dedication to a system that would replace me in a heartbeat. I wanted to be there when they needed me and being there when they walked back through that door. The life that you want doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to look like anyone that you know. You are the one that gets to choose what makes you feel aligned. If you're feeling ungrateful for the life that you didn't choose, the life that you thought was the right path, it's because you're finally hearing your voice again. It's the voice that speaks clearly and deeply from your soul. We were raised to follow the rules, be responsible, be realistic, keep the peace, and check those boxes. But we weren't taught to choose the truth, to choose joy, to choose us. So we chase what is acceptable, but not what is aligned. We build a life that looks great on paper, but feels like quiet suffocation on the inside. What we really want is what Maslow calls self-actualization. Most people stop before they ever reach it because getting there requires honesty, requires disruption, and it requires coming home to yourself. So when did it start to break? It didn't start overnight. You lost yourself in little ways. Saying yes when you meant no, tolerating instead of choosing, smiling instead of speaking. It didn't start with your job or that relationship. That is where the weight just finally caught up. For me, it started way earlier, and maybe you could resonate with me. It started when the first time I said yes instead of no, or the first time I kept quiet instead of speaking up just to keep the peace. Over time, I became excellent at that. I became who I was supposed to be and lost who I actually was. The truth wasn't loud. It was relentless. And finally, I realized something. I thought I was on the right path until the ache of staying there where I had risen became the prison of my soul's calling. So when is it time to act? According to Burnout research, Dr. Christina Maslish says that you know it's time to make a shift when you are emotionally exhausted over the things that used to exhaust you. You can't fake your smile anymore. You dread your own routines and you start catching yourself fantasizing about escape. If that sounds like your life right now, this is the moment you stop performing and start returning back to yourself. Here are some steps to start coming back to yourself. This is not about throwing everything away. It's about starting to tell the truth. It's about starting to be honest with yourself. So let's start now. Step 1. Name what no longer feels like home to you. Ask yourself, what part of my life looks good on paper but feels wrong? For me, I had the job, the degrees, and the drive to climb even higher. But it hurt too much to not fulfill my heart's desire. Step 2, reclaim one value you have abandoned. Is it freedom? Is it creativity? Is it peace? Ask yourself, where did I stop living in alignment with that? Did you work overtime? It could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be anything that you have in mind. Did you work overtime, kept quiet, so that you can be perceived as the best choice to someone you were trying to impress? Step 3, make one micro shift to your wholeness. Say no to something you'd usually say yes to without guilt. Block time for something that would make you feel alive. Speak a truth you've been holding back. Small moves equal big returns. Remember, you started abandoning yourself in those small ways by making small decisions. And that is the way that you are going to return back to yourself, back to your wholeness. So wrapping up this video, I want to tell you that you did not come to this earth to prove anything to anyone. You weren't made to chase goals just to earn rest. You were made for stillness, the kind where your body isn't clenched and your breath isn't tight. You were made for presence, where you're not just going through the motions, but actually experiencing and living your life moment to moment. You were made for real love, not the kind that drains you, but the kind that feels like home. And you were made for joy, not the kind that shows up once in a while, but the kind that sticks around when you're finally living in alignment with who you are. That is what your soul's been asking for. Not another goal, not more noise or distraction. Just something real, something honest, something that finally feels like you. And that ache that you've been trying to ignore, that's not weakness. It's not failure. That is the part of you that's remembering what you're here to do. The life that you want isn't locked away. It's just waiting on you to stop pretending you don't want it.